Big shout out to Prime XBT for sponsoring today's video. If you don't know who Prime are a platform where you can not only trade crypto, but you can also trade FX, commodities, and stock indices. And the beauty of these guys is you can use crypto, either Bitcoin or USDT, as collateral to trade against these pairs. If you want to find out more about them, then check out the links down in the description. And if you do want to trade with them, then use our codes below to get up to a 7,000 USDT deposit bonus and 25% off trading fees. So thanks once again for sponsoring today's video. Good morning gang. Welcome back to this week's altcoin update. First and foremost, as usual, nothing discussed today is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only, and it's my view of the market. Now that's out of the way, let's get straight into it, shall we? So obviously last week we were looking at Dodge and Shiba Inu. No real change. Dodge is still hovering around the point of control. Typical story. If this is flipped now, then I'll be looking for a drive up towards this EQ. If we do get up towards this EQ, then naturally you'd be targeting liquidity up there. Lose this point of control, and again I'd likely be looking back down towards range low / this value area low down here. So yeah, fairly straightforward. It's in a bit of a funny position at the moment. It's Dodge. This is, for me, would be a no trade zone. Shiba Inu, whatever you want to call it. Again, very similar. Last week when we were making the video, which would have been here, we just had this first rejection from the point of control. We have come back up to it. Now, typically speaking, the more times we're hitting to resistance, the weaker it gets. But at this stage, you know, this is a very large point of control, which is stemming all the way back from May of last year. So, you know, this is a significant area of resistance. Flip this, once again, I'll be looking back up towards this EQ / value area high. Lose this, and first and foremost, I'll be looking back down at this value area low region. Which could then coincide with a bit of a SR flip of this mini range that we're trading here, similar to how Bitcoin is with the deviation at the lows. But yeah, there's no real major update on these two. Again, realistically, no trade zone. If anything, I'd be looking for more shorts rather than longs here, because obviously you've got resistance above, and you don't long into resistance unless you're an absolute idiot. Right. Today, we're going to take a look at 3 coins. We're going to look at Link, Aptos, and FET again. So, first and foremost, Link. Now, the reason why I've selected Link is because I did take a fresh shot on Link the other day, because we're coming up. I mean, the beauty of Link, what you'll find if you've been trading a long time and if you've been in this game for some years, you'll get to know personalities of altcoins. And Link has always been an altcoin that I love to trade. In fact, I talked about it on my most recent live stream for the members, where we were covering some specific personalities. So you'll find altcoins react at certain levels better than others. And Link, because obviously it's one of the old boys, it's a beautiful altcoin to trade, especially for range-bound trading. So obviously going back to one of our original videos that we were making, which was roughly around the start of December, you guys were aware that I was taking a short on this wick here. We came up into the value area high, got a nice rejection, came back towards the point of control, then we wicked back up into the golden pocket, great short, and then obviously we played the short down towards value area low, and then ultimately we played it towards range lows. For that moment, it didn't actually come as low as I wanted it to, so for me that wasn't a long. But, you know, if you did catch that long, great stuff, well played. We're still trading the range, so what have we done since then? Well, we've come back up into the range EQ. So naturally, if you were long from the lows, the range EQ would be a great take profit, and or start to look at a hedge position. So as I was updating the guys in my Discord, now one thing about our Discord, the private Discord, I don't give signals, so I want to make that really, really clear. There's no signals in there. But I do share my daily plans. And on the 27th, my daily plan at the time, as well as my Bitcoin plans, was I was looking for weakness on Link. And obviously we'd not come back up to this weekly level at the time, but I was waiting for it. So we could see, you can see here, I've got a bit of a diagonal on here. Now, this diagonal is not just a case of, like you see the influences just drawing on a couple of random lines. This was actually counting based on a little Elliott wave count that I was looking at the time. And if we just zoom into the 1 hour, we can see this. And let's just get rid of that, shall we? And effectively, this is what I'm looking at. So we can see here. In fact, let's come to the 4 hour so we can see this a little bit clearer. So this is what I was looking at the time. Fairly straightforward, bit of an ending diagonal. It could be a leading diagonal, but regardless, no matter how you look at it, it's a diagonal. So what we've got here is we've got drive 1. We've got drive 1, drive 2, drive 3, pullback 4, drive 5. Yeah, and this is what you want to see within a diagonal, and this is exactly what I teach. So the thing about with diagonals is when you get a really obvious one and it's crystal clear, chances are it's not going to play out the way that you expect it. And why is that? It's because every man and his dog's looking at it. But when you get one that looks like this, it's a little bit funky. But for anyone that understands Elliott wave, this is a pretty obvious diagonal. So what you're looking for, then you're looking for your weakness. So we had this final drive up, got a pullback, another drive up, couldn't quite take the highs. Great short trigger, and all I did with this short here is I added back in to my original short, which was from here. So I added back into my original short that I still had a little bit left in, and it's brought my average entry down to roughly around here, and played it down to the bottom of the diagonal. Now I've taken some profits, my stops are at entry now, so if price does turn around and pump up, then I get stopped out, but it's a winning trade regardless. The idea still played out, but price continued up. If this continues then to break down, then I'll skim more profits off as price moves down. Okay, so it's just a little bit of alpha there. Obviously, if you want to learn this in more detail, first thing to do is come over to our website, spitfiretraders.com. First and foremost, without a doubt, join our free Discord. You know, the amount of people that's joined our free Discord over the past couple of weeks is insane. And within our free Discord, you'll get access to all our free stuff. And within that, we've got an altcoins channel. And what you'll get is you'll get some of the members, especially some of the really experienced members, do now and again pop into the free group and they drop a load of alpha for you to learn from, including charts, including setup ideas. Again, it's not signals, it's just ideas and what other people are looking at. So obviously, if you guys want to learn from that, then come in here. And obviously, if you want to take your learning to the next level and learn, for example, how I trade, then it's going to cost you a whole whopping 60 quid. And for that price, you get access to over 80 hours of educational content. You get access to 4 fresh live streams a month, plus bonus live streams when we've got news events, like for example tomorrow we've got the FOMC. And then you also get access to my private trading plans, and you can ask me questions whenever you want. And you know, is a good example. So our next live stream will be tonight. We've got another chat and chill stream tonight, which is going to talk about my plans on Bitcoin, low time frame trades and high time frame trades. So swing trades, intraday scalps, to talk through all my plans. And then you've also got all the rest of the library to go through. You know, everything from absolute beginners, simple support and resistance, through to advanced order flow, Elliott wave theory. It's obviously we've just been talking about there. And yeah, there's so much content, you know. And as I say, all this content plus much more for the grand old price of £60. It's not really going to break the bank, is it, when you get some people out there that are willing to drop a few million on a JPEG rock picture. But anyway, so that's what we're looking at. That's obviously why I've taken a short. So what could happen next? Well, now that we've got more data, first things first, let's pull this volume profile along and let's see where we're up to. So right now, natural area, we've come back into the point of control. So natural support for the time being. Now, does this mean it's support and it's time to continue up? Could do. If we lose this level, then I'll be looking down. So if we do hold this now and we start driving back up and we come back up into the EQ, then be watching for a reaction around the EQ, but ideally I'd be looking for these highs to be swept, which effectively would be a liquidity sweep and a stop run, including my own stops. Absolutely fine. If that does happen, then we could see a play up towards the value area high. And then once again, come up to the value area high, I'll be looking for a reaction around these highs. Okay. So that'd be first and foremost. If you get no reaction and we just continue grinding up and we break all these levels, then ultimately I'm going to be looking up at range highs, which again, we've got, as we've said a few weeks ago, we've got all this liquidity up here. So we've got liquidity above this, and above this, and it's never been tested. So if we do manage to get this high, then first and foremost, my primary look would be this. Great short setup. Okay, just continue in the range. Swing failure of these highs, grab all the liquidity, grab all the stop losses, turn it around and drive it back down. Now again, I don't mean drive it back down and it's going to be brand new lows. I mean drive it back down, you'd be playing the range. So you'd be looking back towards value. Then you'd be looking back towards EQ. Point of control, value area low. Range lows. Okay? Now what happens if it does drop from here? Well, if we do drop from here, quite simply, if we lose this point of control and we come down, then ultimately I'm going to be looking for a run on these stops, which likely brings us then into value area low. Okay? If we just throw it on a fib retracement from the absolute low to the absolute high, we can see here that we've got the value area low sitting right in the golden pocket, which then would also clean up these lows here. So that would be an area of interest potentially to look to add into longs or new longs. Does that mean it's going to hold? No, it could go straight through it. So what you want to see is you want to see a reaction. You want to see a very low time frame trend change, and then if you get that, come down, start to reclaim, then you got a long setup. Okay, if you get bugger all reaction and it just carries on going through, then ultimately you're going to be looking back down at range lows. Okay, we're just trading this whole range until it breaks, and eventually one of the sides will break, and it eventually will break without it being a swing failure pattern, and it'll break, and it'll either break to the upside or it'll break to the downside. But until that happens, you are just trading the range. Because if you were just trading the range, then you've had one good short, one good long, one good short, another good short, and then again, if you were trading value, like we said, you had a great short setup there. Not so great long setup here because we didn't come right down towards the range lows, and again, you had another great short setup here. And this is a large range. And this, you know, that's what you got to take into consideration. This is a large range. You know, just from that move alone was a 29% trade. Okay, this current one that I'm sat in right now has been a 9% trade. As a day trader or as a swing trader, you got to be happy with that. You know, it's a great increase. So you're just trading the range until it breaks, and you're only trading the high probability setups. Okay. Right. Next, aptos. This has been going crazy on Twitter at the moment, and I must admit it's one coin I've not looked at. So looking at through a few of the exchanges, the Binance chart looks one of the best. However, the Binance chart does have this dirty wick, so I'm going to ignore this wick for now, and let's just see what's going on. So first and foremost, let's throw it on a volume profile from the start to where we are now. I also want to see what this is looking like from the absolute lows to the highs. And that's a 500% move. That's phenomenal. And if you did catch that, if you were in down here, then fantastic, well played. But you know, you need to be taking some profits now, really, don't you? Even if you're just taking out a small amount, a small percentage of the profits, moving your stops to entry, and then if it does continue pumping up, then great, it continues winning. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to not take any profits for all of a sudden this to roll over. And I'm not saying it will, but if this just rolls over and comes back down to your entry, you've just given back all those profits. And even if it continues up again after that, then you could have made that same trade twice, doubled your money. But no, because some people just hold on to this hoping that it's going to go to the moon straight from here. Why not pay yourself? If you pay yourself some profits at least, and then if it does come back down, then you can always look to add back in. Okay? Don't be a degenerate gambler. If you didn't learn from your mistakes in the last bull market, then you're an absolute fool. You've had 12 months of pure down and sideways price action to learn and to improve your TA, improve your game. Okay? Right. So, first and foremost, we've got the volume profile on. We're going to leave it in log now because it's a lot easier to look at. We're just going to see if we have an obvious range on here. And looking at that, we do. Now let's just hide this volume profile for now. So we've got the highs of the range. Let us stop around the EQ, come back down, create the low, back up, deviation, respect to the EQ, breaks through the highs, slight back test, actually front runs it, and then continues up. So there's the old range quite clearly. Now let's have a see about this. So looking at this right now, it does look rather extended. There's a couple of ways to measure this. We can either measure this from the low to here, and then you've got a perfect one-to-one extension. Now once again, it's great to take profit. Why would you not be taking profits at that one-to-one extension? Okay, so, you know, pay yourself, treat yourself. Another way to look at this would be, which would then give me, no, that doesn't work that very well. One 618 followed by that. So you could say there's potentially 5 waves complete within that. And if there's 5 waves complete within that, then we could look at some channeling on this. And if we look at some channeling, that doesn't look right pretty. Let's throw it back onto linear. Let's change the colour of this to yellow. And we'll change that EQ to yellow as well, just so it don't get confusing. And there we go. Let's throw it on there. And there we go. So we've got a nice channel. Now, because it's technically not broken out of this channel, to me suggests that this could be corrective, which then ties up nicely with saying that this is a one-to-one. So therefore, it could potentially be a corrective move up. Which, if it's a corrective move up, then that means I'll be looking for a fresh impulse down. Doesn't necessarily have to happen that way, but it's something to keep into consideration. And how would we know that? Well, realistically, you don't want to be losing this channel. Okay, if we start to lose this channel, then we'll be looking down. Now, if we throw the volume profile back on, what happens if it does break down? Okay, well, if we do break down, then we can see on the volume profile here, we've got high volume area here, which is obviously the region that we're in. And then we've got a thin gap, and then we've got another high volume node here, just here, which coincidentally is this consolidation. So if we do lose this, then I'll be looking to come back into this range. Now, if you lose this range, again, if we're looking at the volume profile, we've got another gap. We do have a slight wick here at the absolute bottom of this area. But if you lose that, then ultimately I'll be looking back downward into the range. And eyes realistically would be, we do have a slight high volume node just above this value area, but I would more likely be looking down at this value area high, which then coincides with the breakout of this little consolidation here. Now what else can we do? We can throw it on a fib. In fact, let's zoom into the daily so we can see this a bit better. So we'll do a fib from the low to the high, chuck it back down on linear, and we can see here. So we've got, let's do this, make life easier. Here we go. So we've got the 382 coming around this consolidation here and the 0.5. So smack bang between these two fib ranges. It's nice for this volume. Lower than that, you've got your golden pocket here, which lines up with this little volume spike, and then just below it, you've got this value area high. So if it does break down, let's get rid of this, get rid of this. If it does pull back from here and we get bugger all reaction in this zone, then ultimately I'll be looking back down around this region here. And if we start to see a bit of a structure change, get back out of this old range, then you potentially got a long. So if you have paid yourself up here, like a smart person, then you could always be looking to add back on, potentially down here. If it gets bugger all reaction, then I'll be looking back down at the range EQ. Okay. Do you get a reaction there? Yes or no? Yes, great. Enter a long. No reaction there, looking back down at the point of control. But for now, I wouldn't be longing up here. I would be waiting for a decent pullback. Okay? And if it does continue up, then you just sit out. If you're not in the trade and you've missed this whole move, then don't get FOMO. It's just an opportunity that you've not got involved with. Now, just because you're not involved with an opportunity, that's not a bad thing. Yes, okay, you might not have gained money if you manage to get a sniper entry. you know, down at the lows or on any of these pullbacks. Okay? But the big thing is you've not lost money. Now, if you start chasing your FOMO now and getting all excited because it's up here and you think, yeah, sod it, I'm going to long up here, because you've got FOMO and because you think that you've missed out on money, and then price is doing what it's doing right now and starting to go against you, well, you've not lost out on any gains. You're taking losses because you've chased this candle. It's FOMO. Okay? You need to control your FOMO in these environments. Once everyone starts screaming about a coin or a token on Twitter and on YouTube, so this has been screamed about, then you know it's time to get out. Okay? It's always one that I will always say. If you start to see, especially big accounts, talking about a certain coin, then that means it's likely had its pump and now it's likely going to face either a consolidation or a pullback. Okay? People get overexcited at the highs, which is why it was a great opportunity for some shorts and small coins recently. Okay? Once everyone starts getting overexcited, take some profits and look for shorts. So effectively, that's what I'd be looking at. If it does continue up, well, quite frankly, you are in blue sky territory. You know, above this consolidation, you are in blue sky territory. Okay? So another way to look at this would be, let's get rid of that, and let's go back on log so we can do this better. Let's get rid of this range. Let's throw it on range fib tool. Come back off log. We've even broken out of this. So yeah, you're in blue sky territory. If you continue up, then you're in blue sky territory. And then you're going to be working on fib extensions rather than anything else. So you're not necessarily going to be working on any of the levels because you've got no major SR levels here and you've got NAFO volume in this wick. So you're going to be looking on extensions. So if this is the case, then your next major area to consider would be around $39. If it gets there, based on this current structure, take out this low and this extension's not valid anymore. If this does continue going up, then you'll be looking around $39, which would be significant. Okay? That's if it got there. It's got all these other levels to get past. So it's not time to get greedy on this. It's a time for chafing profits, for sure, and potentially looking for shorts. Right, that's Aptos. Fair. I wanted to bring this up because this coin has played so perfectly over the last, well, couple of months, shall we say. So obviously initially we were chatting when we're down here, and if you remember, we're in this range, and we said that if we do manage to break out of this range, which we did, we've got the back test and we've got the push up, then we're looking at this old range, and if we zoom out, this is the old macro range. Okay, came back up into the old macro range, got a nice rejection, and then the bulls continued the drive up. So in that case, we're looking at the next major resistance, which would be this old point of control. Okay, so it's all point of control, and look at this, we've come straight into it and now we're getting a rejection. So once again, this is looking rather extended. Could it continue further up? Yes, it could. It could. Anything can happen in trading, and that's what people really need to start to realise. But we're rather extended. Now, could this be potentially a wave 1, a wave 2, and this is maybe a wave 3? Yeah, it's possible. So therefore, if that's the case, then you'd be looking for a pullback for a 4, and then you'd be looking for one last leg up for a 5. But it also could be corrective. So this could be simply an ABC, which then means you'd be looking for a start of the next move on the way down. Okay, so right here, would it be a place I'd be looking to long? No, not at all. What I'd be looking for here is if it gives a pullback, where's it likely to pull back to? That's what we want to be looking for. Let's come out of log. Let's throw this onto a fib retracement. So we can see here, there's bugger all support. Now this is on the daily. There's bugger all support down here, but potentially we've got a bit of spot around the 382. But realistically, I'd be more inclined to say the 0.5 or the golden pocket, because we do have a little bit of thicker volume. Now if we pull this volume profile along, we'll be able to see this. So around this golden pocket, we do have a slight bit more volume. Around this 0.5, it's actually very minimal, so I won't actually be interested in that now. You should be playing at level to level, so if it does come down, then effectively you're looking back down towards this old range low / value area high, value area low as well. If this doesn't hold, so if it does come down here, then first and foremost, does that hold? Does that give you a change in market structure? Looking for longs. If that doesn't hold and it just continues down, well, effectively, I'll be coming back down towards this region. Okay? It's just simple level to level. Again, even if this is the start of a new bull trend across the market, you know, even if this is the start of a new bull trend, you've got to learn from your old mistakes. You need to be locking in profits. Okay? And then if you get a pull back to a level that you're happy with, then you take a long or add back into your old position and then ride it back again. And keep doing that. Or, at times like this, potentially hedge. Okay? So, they're the levels. They're the levels. Again, it's just been so easy. It just drives towards liquidity, does this coin. It's actually a really nice coin to trade. So, congrats if you have been trading it and you've been trading it well. Just don't forget to pay yourself. Right, that'll do for this week. How long we've been going? Quite a while. So if you've enjoyed today's content, make sure you hit that like button. Let us know down in the comments what coins you want covering next week. And until next time, gang, as you were, bye-bye.